The first year as a medical doctor is typically an internship year, which is the first year as a medical doctor in Nigeria is housemanship year, which is typically an internship year just before you go for youth service once you're done with medical school. Hi, my name is Deborah Esenyin and I'm a medical doctor living in Nigeria. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 7 lessons that I have learned on my journey through my first year as a doctor and just being a medical doctor in Nigeria. I'll be answering some of the questions that you have about work-life balance, being a doctor in Nigeria, and really just navigating career as a young person. If you're ready, I'm ready, so let's dive right into the video. 1. Housemanship is the goal. I know that there's this pressure to do so much when you come out of school. It feels like a roof has been, taken off and you're ready to fly and you want to do all this great stuff. And because house job is the next thing for you as a medical doctor once you're inducted in Nigeria, there's typically that pressure to want to do all the things. But that 1 year already has a goal. One of the questions that I got was, what did you do in house job year that would affect your future? And the answer is really nothing except house job in itself. Housemanship itself comes with its own pressure, it comes with its own demand, and if all you end up doing at the end of house job is house job in itself, that's enough. That's the goal. That 1 year already comes with its own prescription. At the end of the day, you're going to finish house job. Housemanship is really just 1 year. Now I'm done. I can do literally anything that I want to do. It might feel like a long time, and it might feel like you're missing out on life, you're missing out on purpose, you're missing out on destiny. Destiny is calling your name. You want to take the nations, you want to do all that good stuff, but it's really just 1 year. You're not going to take all the nations in that 1 year. It is okay if all you do in house job year is house job. Rituals over routines. So before I started house job, before I started practicing as a doctor in Nigeria, I used to wake up by 5 a.m. to pray. I was part of the 5 a.m. club, pray in the morning, wake up, pray, read my Bible, read a book, exercise, plan my day, do all that great stuff. And then I started housemanship and no more. Life started to life. Occurrence started to occur and I was just not keeping up. I felt like I was thrown off balance and I really started to struggle because I wasn't able to wake up by 5 a.m. anymore. I mean, imagine that you have to be at work by 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and perhaps you're on call that day, so that means that you're at work from 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next day and you're required to still work the next day from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. It was crazy like that. So I mean, where was the space or the time to wake up by 5 a.m. and do all that stuff? So I started to feel like, oh my God, my work with God, oh my God, all of that. But I started to learn to prioritize rituals. What that means is I may not be able to pray by 5 a.m. every day, but I have to pray every day. There's a difference. What that looks like, or what that looked like for me, is praying in between work. Praying when I get back from work, or coming back, taking a nap, waking up, praying for 30 minutes, going back to sleep, period. It was just more important for me to ensure that the practices that were fueling me, that were healthy for my spirituality, for my mental health, for my life, was still in place, despite my not being able to put this fixed structure to it. So in that 1 year, you want to flow. The goal is flow over balance, because at the end of the day, you're not performing for God. You're not performing for yourself. You're not trying to prove a point to anybody. You really just want to do what needs to be done, as opposed to trying to feel like you're this put together person and all of that. So that's the second lesson I learned during housemanship. And in my first year, 3, I can learn. When I started housemanship, I didn't know how to do anything. I started house job green. I didn't even, had colleagues who would attach themselves to like a private practice so that they could pick up skills and all that. I didn't do any of that. I was busy doing other things. When I got into medical school, I was busy doing other things, running my ministry and doing all the things. I did not learn anything. So I started house job green, not with any skills, nothing except for my medical degree and the things I had learned in medical school. And I had this interesting question about transitioning from being a medical student to being a medical doctor, and how the terrains are different. Really, it's a different playing field. I feel like medical school prepares you to be or prepares you to pass examinations, it doesn't necessarily prepare you to be a doctor in that sense. Is when you come out, you start to actually learn the rudiment of practice. But one of the lessons that I learned that changed everything for me is that's the whole point. I mean, that's why we are doing housemanship in the first place. That's why we're interning. That's why it's first year. First are usually really difficult. First years, first anything is really just a year or an experience full of lessons. That's the idea of it being first. You've not done it before. That's the whole point of internship, to learn. So I know that sometimes you meet certain seniors who will try to shame you for not knowing certain things, but you just having that self-concept and that inner, mindset that I'm not supposed to have known. That's just the point. I'm not supposed to have known how to sight the line, or know how to pass a catheter, or know how to give blood, or no, I'm not necessarily supposed to have known. I cramped this thing in medical school like that. That's the point. That's the point of doing internship. To learn. This is where I'm supposed to learn that stuff. So don't feel less of yourself because you don't know certain things. That's the whole point of doing house job in the first place. The most important thing is that you have a growth mindset over a fixed one, where you know I can actually learn this thing. One of the things that gave me challenges in house job is sighting lines, which is really just putting up or starting an IV access, right? It's one of the things that gave me challenges, and I remember that I would go back many times and I would cry that I'm a bad doctor. I'm never going to be a good doctor because I can't sight lines. I can't set up IV access. I kept feeling like I'm a bad doctor, and every time I would try to sight a line and I would fail, I would go back and say I'm a bad doctor. Maybe not all doctors are meant to know how to sight lines and stuff like that. But the moment my mindset shifted from I'm a bad doctor, to I don't know it, and that's the point. I can learn. That's why I'm here. It changed everything. So every time I would try to set up an IV access and not get it, I didn't go back feeling like, oh my God, I'm such a bad doctor, I'm such a failure. I would go back saying, what did I do wrong? The whole point is this: it's okay not to know. That's the point of starting something new. That's the point of first. That's the point of a new job, a new career, a new relationship. It's okay not to know. The most important thing is that you tell yourself that you can know. It is not the exclusive reserve of a certain sect of people. Learning is available for you too. You can learn. Fourth lesson is around seasons, structures, and support. Now, I know I said at the beginning of the video that housemanship is the goal, but I also know that there are many things that are already going for a lot of people in their lives that you can't necessarily just dump because of house job, e.g. marriage. If you're married, if you have children, you can't dump them for 1 year of house job, right? If you run a ministry like I do, or run an organization, like I do, you can't dump it because of house job, if that makes sense. So you kind of like have to find a way to work around that. So really this is a conversation around balance and all that stuff. So the three things that have helped me, or the three things that come to mind, are seasons, structures, and support. In house job, you're going to have high demand seasons, you're going to have lesser demand seasons. So you're going to have seasons where it will be tougher, there'll be more demand on your time, your energy, your emotions, your space. But you will also have in between, interspersed, seasons where it's more cruise, it's more chill. And even in the middle of the high demand seasons, you will have days that are less stressful. So here's the mantra: put pressure on your less demand seasons and put grace on your high demand seasons. You won't do everything, and it's okay. You shouldn't do everything because you are a human being and you are finite in resources. You don't have more than 24 hours in a day. You don't have more than the energy you have for a day. You don't have more than the space that you have. And I know we think that we can increase all these things by more prayer and more supplication, but not really. You have to work with the resources available to you. So it's okay not to do everything, but in seasons that are less demanding, you want to put pressure on that to do the things that are important to you, and the things you think are necessary for you to do even within this housemanship year. The second thing is really around structure. So putting structure in place that can fuel your life. A question I got was how I was able to balance my spirituality with housemanship here, and how, if I was still able to go to church and all that good stuff. And thinking about it, I realized that what kept my spirituality in a house job here is structure that I had built before. It's the disciplines, that I had put in place before that had now become habits. So I was not necessarily disciplining myself to pray in that sense anymore, because I had done that in seasons of my life where that was possible, where I had the space, or I had the bandwidth to be able to do that. Does this make sense? All those times where I would wake up by 5 a.m. and I would discipline myself to pray, I would put myself under, had built a habit in me where I couldn't step out without prayer. And so during a house job, it wasn't that I was trying to force myself to pray. It's just that it had become a habit that my day literally felt incomplete if I had not prayed that morning. So what I would do is, I may not be able to pray by 5 a.m., but even if it's 10 minutes, as I come back from my call, while I'm trying to wait for my water to boil, I quickly make, coffee, sit down, and just have a 10 minutes conversation with God. Because I needed to do it. I couldn't step out without doing it, because it had become habitual for me. It wasn't strain, it wasn't struggle, and that's the truth. I'm not even trying to say I was that gracious or I was that disciplined to be able to pray, not necessarily. It's that I had built structures in other seasons of my life that was now fueling my lifestyle in this new season. And that's the thing, that's the counsel, that's the lesson, to build structures. Rest is not laziness, and prioritize true rest over entertainment. I know the number of times that I felt guilty because I came back from work and I just slept till the next morning. I feel like, oh my God, I should be, taking the nations for Christ. I should be doing all the stuff and reading many books and investing in myself. And that's why I started by saying that housemanship is the goal. And if all you do in house job here is house job, it's okay. Do not feel guilty for the fact that you need to rest. But a very close second is to prioritize true rest, over entertainment. Many times you come back from a very stressful day and you just, you need to relax. You feel like, I need to relax, and then you pick your phone and you scroll on Instagram. It probably is not just me, but many times when that happens, you don't feel rested. You instead feel more stressed. You feel more mentally exhausted, because scrolling social media is not true rest. For certain people, you come back and you just binge watch a lot of movies and you don't necessarily feel rested. In the moment when you're watching the movie, you may seem to forget all your problems in the world, but once the movie is over, all the stress comes back. You need to find what true rest really, really, truly means to you. Do you want to sleep? Do you want to read a nice book? Do you want to have a conversation with, a friend, and stuff like that? You need to figure out what true rest truly means. Prioritize that, because you spend half of your day working. The other fraction of that day, you have resting. So you don't want to spend your rest time on something that is so that you don't want to spend your rest time on shaft. You don't want to spend your rest time on empty entertainment and empty rest. You want to invest in true rest, the same way you are investing in work and investing in serving your patients and investing in working with your team, with your seniors. You also want to prioritize your soul and invest in true rest. So ask yourself at every point in time, is this thing that I'm trying to do or planning to do going to truly give me rest? The sixth lesson, wait for it. Prayer is practical. I was posted to a unit during house job, and it is arguably the unit nobody wants to go to for two reasons. One is arguably the most stressful unit in the whole of house job. Anybody can argue, but that unit is probably the most stressful unit in housemanship. And two, because of a person in that unit, a senior in that unit that everybody thought to be very toxic. So many stories had gone round about this person, and everybody would say this person is really toxic, see what this person did. So literally people dreaded this person, and people dreaded being in that unit because of this person. So the day, the chief resident told me you're going to be in this unit, I legit cried in the office. I disgraced my father, disgraced my mother, disgraced my village people in that office because I shed real tears. Because I was thinking about, oh my God, I'm just coming from a stressful posting. How am I going into this stressful posting? And two, how am I going to cope with this person that everybody says is toxic? So I went back home that day. After crying and after telling God, you don't love me, God, you must really hate me, how can you send me to this place? After I had finished throwing my tantrums, and now had a real conversation with God, and then I brought this person before God, and I called the name of this person in prayer, and I said, you will favor me. And when I was done with that posting, people started to say, oh my gosh, you have such a great relationship with this person. And I would just smile, because I wonder if people just thought, oh, it just happened by chance. What people do not know, what I did not tell a lot of people, is that I prayed my way into that posting. And truly speaking, this person became almost like a mentor. I think about it now and I'm just like, there's really nothing prayer can do. There are some battles that you don't need to fight if you can just pray. There are some struggles that are not really your own. Because you could go through the 3 months of that posting, or the 1 month, or the 2 weeks, or whatever time frame you have to be in that place, and you could join everybody else to complain and come back every day feeling bitter. But at the end of the day, now you they chopper, now you they collect, that's it. Now you they collect time. At the end of the day, it is you that is getting stressed. So why? What's the point when I can pray about it? I've also prayed about a senior that was consistently making decisions that were causing problems for me. This person was very, 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 I won't say the word, but the point is, the senior just kept making decisions that were stressing me out and making my posting difficult. Like, I was like, this posting is supposed to be a chill posting, but it's not chill, it's stressful, because this person is not working smart. This person doesn't know how to work smart. I took it to the Lord in prayer. I called the name of the person and started to pray wisdom over him, because if he makes wise decisions, it helps me and favors me and my family. Really. So instead of stressing about it, and really I started with stressing about it. But one day in prayer, the Holy Spirit said, sure, you know that this person is chilling in his house, that you are the person stressed. So why are you stressed about this when you can pray about it? And I did that. I prayed about it, and that's how I solved my problems. My point is this: there are many things that you'll be faced with. There are many things you can be faced with in the career, front, in the work front, in house, job, in life generally, that you can just pray about. Prayer is practical. Finally, this is probably going to be my biggest lesson from house job. This is probably going to be, it's a life lesson. It is the one thing that I feel like I've just made peace with, and that God is not trying to make you happy. There are many things that happened. There are many postings that I did during housemanship that I was very unhappy about. But just because you hate something does not mean that it is not good for you. Just because you completely detest it does not mean that it is out of God's plan or God's will for you. God will work everything out to your favor. And his goal, he wants you to be happy. Don't hear what I'm not saying. God wants you to be happy, but he's not trying to make you happy. His goal is not to try to make you happy at the expense of your purpose, your becoming, your destiny. He's not going to trade that for your happiness, because he understands how fleeting human emotions can be. He understands that 1 minute we're here, 1 minute we're there. He understands that many times we don't even know what makes us happy. 1 minute this makes us happy, the next minute it doesn't anymore. God understands that, and he knows that he cannot follow the fleeting emotions of human beings to do right by us, if that makes sense. When I was posted into endocrinology, I remember feeling like, what? Goodness, how can I even be here? I mean, if you love me, you want me to be somewhere that is chill. Why am I here? And today, I thank God every single time that I did that posting. In the middle of that posting, I literally hated it. I went through a lot. Gosh, it's an experience that I don't even want to repeat again. But now I am truly grateful that I did that posting. I can't even explain it. It is in retrospect, I am grateful for all the postings that I did. At some point, I was the laughing stock because I went from one stressful posting to another stressful posting. People were laughing at me. It was so funny. I was laughing at myself. I was crying with myself. It was a mess. It was funny. But now I am completely grateful, and I say that without any form of a restraint. I am grateful that I did the postings that I did. And now I understand some things. I understand that God was being good to me all along, even when I felt cheated, even when I felt like, it's just unfair, even when I felt like this is just it's not fair, it's not, the people are just not being fair to me. God was being good to me all along. I hope this video has been truly enlightening, edifying for you. Don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing, you make me know, you encourage me, and you make me know that I'm doing something that is truly profound for you. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know where you're at. Are you starting house job? Are you in house job? Have you finished house job? Where are you? And then I'm also just looking forward to connecting with you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you next time. At the end of the day, you're not trying to perform for anybody. I was not supposed to be part of point one. Let's start the video again.